All right, wow. Just saw Patrick Mahomes throw a very short interception. We're also used to Patrick Mahomes pulling those rabbits out of his hat, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills. I'm no longer watching because I have to head out to the airport here in Atlanta and I have to get this done. Obviously, before I head out to the airport, maybe I even start walking during this live. It's going to give you some 49ers Falcons post-game analysis. So if a miracle happens, if Buffalo somehow screws up the kneel down, just put it in the comments section and we'll revisit this. But I'm assuming that both the Chiefs and the 49ers will be coming into next week's game at Levi's Stadium coming off of losses. The Chiefs, obviously, to the Bills, and the 49ers lost here. We're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They lost 28-14. Now, I mean, how can the 49ers fix this? That's going to be the focus of what we talk about this week. And I mean, to me, the 49ers, they play such a particular brand of complementary football. All phases of the game feed off of each other. In an ideal world, the 49ers always talk about wanting those 40 rushes, right? They want to win time of possession. They want the offense to help out the defense by controlling the ball, converting third downs. Fresh defense gets after the quarterback, and then the special teams just doesn't screw it up. Well, today, the 49ers obviously, not only did they, miss out on their own formula, but their opponent, the Falcons, exacted the 49ers' own formula against them. Atlanta had 40 rushes in this game. The 49ers had only seen an opponent attain 40 rushes against them in 2017 and 2018. It happened 3 times back when the 49ers weren't any good under Kyle Shanahan. Everything I say is under Kyle Shanahan since 2017. The other data points, we're not going to go back to Chip Kelly and Tom Sula and that era. We're evaluating the 49ers for what they are now. So giving up 40 rushes, over 33 minutes of possession, being a victim to what the 49ers were a victim of against the Falcons today, that has only happened to the 49ers back when they didn't have a very talented roster. So that tells us a couple things. What tells us, A, the 49ers probably really beaten up today, which they were on the defensive side of the ball. And B, they were lousy in trying to capitalize on some of their opportunities. And there was a game in which they gave up 39 rushes last season with a better roster than 2017 or 2018, but also a roster that had some flaws. And that was against the Arizona Cardinals in week 9 of last season. 49ers gave up 39 rushes. They got blown out. They lost 31-17, kind of like today. They lost by 2 scores. And that game was marked by missed opportunities offensively. I remember George Kittle fumble in that game. Well, Jeff Wilson had one today that Atlanta took back to the house for a touchdown. And obviously you had the tipped interception from Jimmy Garoppolo. And then you had a ton of penalties today, right, from the 49ers and drops. Ray McLeod dropped a long pass. Brandon Ayuk dropped a pass. Charlie Werner dropped a pass that really would have, I think, given the 49ers at least a chance to change this game. And then a Jake Brendel penalty nullified a deep pass to Brandon Ayuk. But anyway, that game against the Cardinals last year, the reason that I bring it up is because the 49ers, their complementary formula, it just looked ugly, right? And they turned it around the next week after that against the Rams, because I think it just showed you how precise and how small the margins are between failure and success in the NFL. Everybody thought the 49ers had no chance the following week against the Rams. And they came out, the 49ers did, and beat them 31-10. And they fixed a couple things, and then everything else fell into place, right? They started snuffing out the Rams on defense. They started, punishing them on the ground. They started converting third downs, and all of a sudden, they ran 44 times. They were back to their old selves, and they won the game against the eventual Super Bowl champions. Well, the Chiefs are coming to town this next week. Everybody's wondering, can the 49ers fix it before the Chiefs come to town? And the fix, I feel, is always closer than people might think, because the margins in the NFL are so small, right? The margins in the NFL are minute. And often with the 49ers formula, the margin between a performance that's terrible, like this one in Atlanta, and one that's good, comes down to a couple plays. And most of the mistakes today are mistakes that the 49ers would hope that they don't make into the future. Ray McLeod is paid to catch footballs. He's has to catch that deep ball from Jimmy Garoppolo. You can't have 20 yards of penalties if you're Jake Brendel in one drive. And those penalties, obviously, one of those penalties, the holding penalty, just negated a dime from Jimmy Garoppolo deep to Brandon Ayuk. Charlie Warner also is paid to not only block as a tight end, but he has to catch easy passes. Charlie Warner didn't catch that pass today. Jeff Wilson cannot fumble early in the game on a 3rd and short. Kyle Shanahan's got to call a better game, too. Kyle Shanahan absolutely has to call a better game. 3rd down, pitch outside, really? And he said, oh, I thought they were ready for the quarterback sneak. It was 3rd and short there at the end of the game. You have to just get that yardage. You can't be cute with it like the 49ers were. And then I guess the 4th down might have been a bit longer. I got to watch the tape. But to line up in the shotgun on that 4th down with the game on the line, that didn't give the 49ers much of a chance at all in that situation. So, it's funny because, when I talk about the parallels to that Arizona game last year where the 49ers got squashed, Garoppolo actually played a decently good game. Garoppolo played well for the 49ers today, probably the best 49ers player, if you think about it today. Jimmy Garoppolo, he was throwing great passes downfield. Again, there's all this talk about him not being able to connect on passes downfield, which is just not true. Today he was throwing dimes downfield to Brandon Ayuk, right, to Ray McLeod, to Charlie Warner. They just weren't catching them in this game. And then there's this kind of tendency for people to just look at the box score lazily, but the Garoppolo interception in the first half, wasn't a bad throw at all. That was just a Hail Mary situation at the end of halftime. They're trying to get into field goal range with no timeouts. That's all that he could have done. I thought his worst throw was probably the one that did end up getting picked, right? Tried to force one into Deebo Samuel, batted up in the air, Cal product Jalen Hawkins intercepts the football, and the 49ers lose a possession there. But the 49ers lost way more possessions through other stuff, through a lot of these drops, again, through a lot of these penalties that reminded me so much of Week 9 last year. And then Week 10 against the Rams, they came back around and they fixed it. And they fixed it because they got back to their formula. They executed 3rd downs. They moved the ball on the ground, and they were the 49ers again, just like the Falcons were the 49ers today. So often the fix is not as far away as you think it is. And the good news for the 49ers is their quarterback wasn't the problem today. The problem was everywhere but quarterback. But, one big problem area, defense, not being able to stop the read option from Mariota, not being able to stop their own formula that the Falcons were feeding them. I think you have to hope, if you're the 49ers, that a lot of that gets fixed when Nick Bosa returns. And Kyle Shanahan said that Nick Bosa was indeed close to playing in this game, and the 49ers are going to need him against the Chiefs. Now, a bigger potential loss, and we'll find out with the groin injury for Charvarius Ward, is how long is he going to be out? Because the 49ers just lost Emmanuel Mosley the other week. So are they going to be without both Mosley and Ward against Kansas City? That's going to be really tough. We'll see. As we saw in this game, you can move the ball against Kansas City, the game that we just finished watching. So then we saw the 49ers pass protect well. Jimmy Garoppolo's there, threw for about 300 yards, despite the fact that he's playing behind 2 backup offensive tackles. I don't know the status on McGlinchey, but they had Brunskill at right tackle playing well, and they had Jalen Moore at left tackle playing well. Atlanta's not a good defense. 49ers held them at bay. 49ers beat themselves with drops and penalties, right? They should be able to move the ball against Kansas City as well. They eliminate those drops, penalties, turnovers, those self-inflicted wounds. That was the story of today. The 49ers should be able to move the ball against the Chiefs. And then it's a matter of how much do they need to move the ball against the Chiefs? And is Nick Bosa, is Charvarius Ward back? How much can they limit the Chiefs, right? This is a week-by-week thing. Every week is a different chapter in a larger novel. And this chapter didn't go well for the 49ers, but as we learned in 2021, the chapters can change really quickly. And they change really quickly because of the style of football that the 49ers play, that complementary style. One thing can go wrong and a whole lot can go wrong, but you fix that one thing and a whole lot can go right. So let's learn from the lessons of last year when the 49ers turned things around very quickly. They were 3-5 last year and they turned it around. This year they're 3-3 with the Chiefs coming to town. So the situation is not as dire as it was last year, but we can take those lessons of their formula and see if they can imprint it moving forward. And I will say this, they saw their own formula at work against them with the Atlanta Falcons today. And that's what I wrote about. I'm going to post that article from The Athletic into the comment section here for you, so be sure to check that out. And I'm going to get going here from Mercedes-Benz Stadium because I have to catch a flight. I have to get out to the Atlanta airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the world. So you can have one last look at this beautiful stadium from the radio booth, and we will say goodbye. More analysis coming this week, but that's the short gist of it. The 49ers got Shanahaned. The Falcons and Arthur Smith ran the 49ers' own formula against them. They were able to play good complementary football, 40 rushes, Mariota 13 of 14. They took advantage of that beleaguered 49ers defense. And then the 49ers offense, which had a chance to rebut, it wasn't Garoppolo's fault. It wasn't the pass protection's fault. It was Jeff Wilson fumbling. It was Ray McCloud dropping the pass, Charlie Werner dropping the pass, penalties. Hey, if the 49ers can clean that stuff up, they have some good components on this team, especially if Nick Bosa's coming back. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. Let's talk soon. Everybody, take care. Have a great Sunday evening. I'm off to the airport.